So you're thinking about moving to Old Orchard Beach here in Southern Maine. Old Orchard is an awesome little town, and today we're gonna go over some of the pros and some of the cons of living in the area so you can figure out if this is the right place for your next move or investment. Let's get into it. By the way, my name's Margaret, and if you want to know everything there is about living here in Old Orchard Beach, make sure to subscribe below so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Southern Maine. If you have any questions at all, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send an email, schedule a Zoom call. All that information's in the description below. All right, so I'm actually on my way back from Old Orchard right now, so I figured I would just knock this video out in the car. But the very first thing I want to talk about is the amount of activities there is to do in Old Orchard. So I'll kind of go through the list of some of them. The first one being the obvious, the beach in Old Orchard. It is actually the longest beach in the entire state of Maine at 7 miles. And right on the beach is an amusement park and an arcade kind of clumped together. The arcade is actually the largest in the state of Maine as well. So yeah, huge attraction to the area, the arcade, the beach. Old Orchard has an amazing pier, which is a huge attraction for people. Everybody always wants to get pictures in this like little downtown area between the amusement park, arcade, getting underneath the pier, the boardwalk. It's an awesome little area. It definitely attracts a lot of tourists, but don't get me wrong, the locals, everybody else loves it too. So that's a huge attraction to the town. There's tons to do in that area, tons of restaurants, tons of shopping. And also in Old Orchard, there's multiple different places to go mini golfing. There's, you know, the more traditional coastal kayaking, fishing. There's hiking in Old Orchard. There's just a lot to do. And it's definitely something to consider when you're moving to Southern Maine. Everybody wants to be in an area that there's a lot to do. I know that's a super big concern of people. What is there to do in Maine, especially in the winter time, which we're going to get into more later on in the channel when it kind of starts to get towards that season. But huge attraction to the area for sure. The next thing I want to talk about is the job opportunities in Old Orchard Beach. Old Orchard's only about 20-25 minutes from Portland, Maine. It's right above Saco, which is right above Biddeford, which is also two smaller cities in Maine, very small cities. But Portland is a huge bonus living near Portland. I know for me, I'm a little bit too far to want to work up in Portland, but I know there's plenty of people that do it. It's about 45-minute drive from where I'm at. But you know, being able to have or live in an area that is so close to a city such as Portland, obviously there's a lot more opportunities there. It's definitely a huge benefit. I know that Old Orchard has seen a job market increase of about 1.4% in the past year alone. So just within that town, not even considering Portland, Biddeford, Saco, there's already an increase of what is happening in the town, which is definitely something to consider when moving to the area for sure. The next thing I want to talk about is the school system in Old Orchard Beach. So the high school, grades 9 through 12, is only about 200 students, which is very small. My high school was small, and that was about, 450 students. But yeah, very small high school, but all in all, it's a good school system. The test scores for the students in these schools seems to be going up every single year. So as for a school, there's really not a whole lot more you can ask for. It's a good school system. So for all you parents out there, this is definitely one to consider. Another thing I want to mention here briefly is the fact that there is multiple colleges in the area. So we've got UNE in Biddeford, Southern Maine Community College, University of Southern Maine, Bodwin College isn't all that far from here. So that's just four. I know there's more. Those are just the ones I have on the top of my head. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of colleges in the area. So as for opportunities after high school, if you're not looking to go super far, that's definitely a huge benefit. The next thing I want to talk about is the economy in Old Orchard Beach. So Old Orchard has an unemployment rate of under 6%, which means it is less than the national average, which obviously is a plus to living in the town. You obviously want to see that. And like I said earlier, Old Orchard Beach has seen a job market increase of about 1.4%. So obviously that's something to consider. The town, some people say it's seen better days. I would argue that. I would say that Old Orchard Beach is still doing well. They have a booming economy. Their school system is doing well. There's really not a whole lot of downside to living in this area. So anybody who's arguing that with you, send them to me. And the last pro I want to mention is the fact that Old Orchard Beach is an investment area. Really anywhere on the coast of Southern Maine is a great investment area. That's obviously why that is where I specialize. But it's a great investment area, especially if you're looking to be, you know, right on the coast somewhere. You want to be near the arcade, you want to be near the amusement park. These are awesome investment areas. There's more multi-families and places to rent in these types of areas, as there is tens of thousands of people coming every single summer just to be near the beach in Maine. I know the median home cost in Old Orchard Beach is a little under $420,000, and homes in the area have appreciated over 12% in the past decade alone, which is obviously just further proof showing that the homes in this area are a good investment. All right, and the last thing I want to mention is the con I have for living in Old Orchard Beach, and that would be clumped together the tourism and the traffic. So hey, some people don't consider tourism to be a con, some people do, but regardless of what anybody says in Southern Maine, because some people don't like the tourists or how many tourists there are, Maine needs tourism. Maine heavily relies on tourism, whether anybody likes it or not. It's definitely a huge part of our economy, and we need that influx of people. So, you know, call it a con if you want to. I personally don't. But there is a lot of tourism in the area. So if you're moving anywhere on the coast of Maine, you have to know that there's going to be more people in the summertime, and not just, you know, a few hundred people. I'm talking thousands of people visiting every single summer. The populations go down drastically in the winter time. So you do have to take into account that there's going to be more traffic. And that's going to back things up in the summertime, especially, even in the fall a lot too. So while I don't really consider the tourism to be a con, I think it just kind of comes with living in Maine. Some people definitely do. The traffic is a bit of a bummer if you're planning to live here year round, but hey, that's why we learn the back roads, right? So you can avoid Route 1, you can avoid those super busy areas, and then it's really not so big of a deal. So those were our pros and cons of living in Old Orchard Beach. I hope you found this video helpful. And again, my name's Margaret, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send an email, or schedule a Zoom call. All that information's in the description below. See you next time.